Do you know why your cat really chooses your bed? Not the couch, not the chair by the window, not the cat bed you bought and moved 3 times before giving up. Your bed, your side, your body. Most people say it's warmth. You're the largest heat source in the room. Simple logic. But warmth doesn't explain something important. It doesn't explain why they choose the exact same spot. It doesn't explain why they face the door. It doesn't explain why some nights they pause in the doorway, watching you before deciding to come closer. And it definitely doesn't explain why one day they might stop. Because when your cat climbs onto your bed and settles against you, a quiet evaluation has already taken place. A decision has been made, one built slowly over time based on how safe you feel to them. And if that decision ever changes, it won't be random. By the end of this video, you'll understand what your cat is really deciding every night and what it means if that choice disappears.
Let's start with the obvious explanation. Cats are drawn to heat. Their bodies run warmer than ours, and they seek out warm spots with quiet determination. The sunny patch on the floor, the laptop that just shut down, the place you were sitting 30 seconds ago. So when they press into your body at night, the warmth explanation makes sense. You're a radiator. They're practical, simple. But here's where that explanation starts to fall apart. If heat were the only variable, your cat would sleep just as easily against any warm surface, a heating pad, a blanket, another animal. And yet you've seen the opposite. The heater is on, the blanket is warm, the room is comfortable, and still they get up. They cross the room, and they choose you. They leave the stronger heat source. They choose proximity. And proximity to a sleeping human is not the safest place in the room, unless that human has already been evaluated. Cats with strong bonds don't rotate randomly between warm spots. They choose specific people, specific sides of the bed, specific positions against a specific body. Researchers have observed something subtle. Bonded cats will often select a slightly cooler spot near their preferred person rather than a warmer location elsewhere. The person becomes the constant. The warmth becomes secondary. Warmth may draw them in, but it doesn't explain why they stay. Something else is operating underneath. And that something isn't temperature, it's safety. Think about what sleep actually requires of a cat. In the wild, a sleeping animal is an exposed animal. No alertness, no reaction time, no way to assess threat or plot escape. For a predator, sleep is the one state where the hierarchy flips, where the hunter becomes briefly something that could be hunted. That survival awareness doesn't disappear in a domestic cat. It's wired into their nervous system at a level that 10,000 years of living alongside humans hasn't fully unwound. A cat choosing where to sleep is, on some level, a cat choosing where to be most vulnerable. And that choice is not casual. Studies of domestic cat behavior suggest that cats conduct a genuine environmental assessment before committing to a sleep location. They're not just looking for soft surfaces. They're evaluating sight lines, exit routes, ambient sound patterns, the predictability of what might approach them while they're still. Notice how they pause before settling. That small half-second scan of the room. It looks insignificant, but it isn't. That brief stillness is assessment. Your bedroom at night with you in it passes that evaluation. You breathe at a consistent rhythm. You don't move dramatically or unpredictably. The sounds you make are familiar. The particular way you shift, the cadence of your exhale. And familiar sounds register to a cat's nervous system as neutral, as safe. You have become, without realizing it, part of your cat's safety architecture. Now think about where your cat actually sleeps on your bed. Feet? Chest? Near the door? That detail isn't random. A cat who sleeps at your feet stays close but keeps their face oriented outward, toward the room, toward the door. They want proximity with you and a clear line of sight to whatever might enter. That's not distance. That's a specific positioning strategy. A cat who sleeps against your chest or stomach has made a different calculation entirely. They've placed their most vulnerable area, their abdomen, in contact with you. In feline body language, that's a statement of trust that has no casual version. They're not just sleeping near you, they're sleeping with you as part of their defense. But there's another layer here, one that operates silently, invisibly, and that most owners never think about at all. Your cat knows what you smell like better than you know what you smell like. Their sense of smell is dramatically stronger than ours. They don't just detect scent, they organize their world through it. Every person, every object, every room carries a scent signature your cat has memorized. And when they sleep pressed against you, something specific is happening. In feline social groups, scent blending is how bonds are reinforced. Cats groom each other, rub against each other, sleep intertwined, not randomly, but to create a shared scent profile, a communal smell that signals same group, same unit, safe. You've seen it in a smaller form, that headbutt to your face, the slow rub against your legs before settling down. It looks affectionate, and it is, but it's also marking, blending, updating the shared scent map. That's why when you come home from somewhere unfamiliar, another house, a hotel, even just a place with strong smells, some cats sniff you longer than usual before settling down. They pause, they investigate. They're recalibrating the scent profile, making sure you still register as you. When your cat sleeps against you for hours, they're doing the same thing on a larger scale. Your scent mixes with theirs. The bond becomes chemical, not just behavioral. And here's the part that matters. Familiar bonded scent lowers stress. Studies suggest it reduces cortisol, the hormone linked to threat response. Your smell isn't just recognized, it's regulating. You calm their nervous system. Which means sleeping next to you isn't just about closeness, it's about maintaining emotional equilibrium. And when scent and territory combine, your body, your bed, your predictable presence, the behavior starts to look less like habit and more like something intentional. Cats are territorial by nature. That's well established. But territory in a domestic cat's life is more subtle than most people imagine. It isn't just about space, it's about predictability. A mapped environment, known variables, familiar sequences. A world the nervous system can relax inside because nothing in it feels chaotic or unreadable. Your bedroom, especially your bed, is one of the most scent-rich, pattern-stable zones in your cat's territory. It smells consistently like you. It follows a rhythm, lights off at a certain hour, stillness, breathing, morning sounds in a familiar order. To a cat, that consistency isn't just comfortable, it's regulating. That's why if you change the sheets with a heavily scented detergent, some cats hesitate the first night. They pause. They circle once or twice. The space smells different. The map has shifted. And here's another version of the same disruption. If someone new sleeps in your bed, a guest, a partner, anyone unfamiliar, some cats don't immediately settle the way they usually do. They circle. They hesitate. They reassess. The territory hasn't disappeared, but the variables have changed. Behaviorists have observed that cats who regularly sleep in their owner's bed often display lower stress indicators overall, more relaxed posture, fewer tension behaviors, greater ease in the home environment. But here's where the picture shifts. Your cat isn't just occupying your bed as territory. They're associating that territory with you. You are part of the stable map. Part of what makes that environment legible, predictable, safe. When your cat sleeps on your bed, they're not being possessive in a selfish sense. They're including you in their architecture of safety. They're mapping you into their world. And that's different from what most people assume is happening. Which brings us to the layer underneath all of this, the one that most owners don't think about until they hear it explained. Trust. We've talked about warmth, safety, scent, territory, but underneath all of it, underneath every biological and instinctual explanation, there is something that functions in every practical sense like trust. Sleep is when your cat is most vulnerable, most exposed, most dependent on their environment to stay safe while they cannot monitor it themselves. And the fact that they choose to be in that state, deliberately, consistently, in close contact with you means something specific. It means you have passed an evaluation you probably didn't know was happening. The nights you stayed still when they finally settled. The times you let them leave without reaching for them. Every time you moved quietly around them. Every time you didn't grab them when they didn't want to be grabbed. Every time you let them leave without following. Every time your behavior was consistent enough that they could build an accurate model of what you were going to do next. You were being assessed, cataloged, added to the evidence file. Cats form attachment styles the same way other mammals do. Researchers have documented secure and insecure attachment in domestic cats, patterns that shape how they relate to their primary humans, how much proximity they seek, how much stress they carry. A cat who sleeps willingly in close contact with a person, night after night, is demonstrating what behaviorists classify as secure attachment. They're not just comfortable near you, they've decided you're safe. And they made that decision through observation, over time, based entirely on your behavior. You earned this, even if you never knew you were working toward it. Now, we need to talk about what happens when it changes. There's a moment some owners remember very clearly. The night the bed felt different. Nothing dramatic happened, no noise, no incident, no obvious reason. It was just missing. You climb into bed, you turn off the light, and the usual weight doesn't arrive. No circling, no settling, no quiet breath near your legs. At first, you don't even call it a problem. You tell yourself they'll show up later. You tell yourself it's a mood, a phase, the unpredictability of cats. Then it happens again, and again. There's a moment some cat owners experience, and it stays with them. They notice gradually that their cat hasn't come to bed in a few nights, then a few more. The bed feels different in a way that's subtle enough to dismiss, but present enough to linger. Sometimes that's true. Cats have preferences that shift for reasons that are entirely benign. A warmer spot elsewhere, a change in their sleep cycle, a new curiosity about a different room. But sometimes the disappearance of this behavior is a signal, a quiet one, the kind cats specialize in. Stress is the most common explanation. Cats experience stress from environmental changes that seem minor from a human perspective. A new piece of furniture, a shift in your schedule, a smell you brought in on your clothes that registers as foreign or threatening, a change in household noise patterns. Their threshold for environmental disruption is lower than ours, and their response is rarely loud. It's quiet withdrawal, a slow recalibration of which spaces still feel safe. If something in your home changed around the same time your cat stopped coming to bed, that connection may not be coincidental. Health is the second explanation, and it's the one worth taking seriously. A cat in physical discomfort will often reduce close contact, not from emotional distance, but because vulnerability feels different when the body doesn't feel right. Pain makes the exposed position of sleep feel less manageable. A cat who is quietly unwell will sometimes solve that problem by withdrawing to spaces where they feel more in control of their environment. If the change in sleep behavior comes alongside other small shifts, eating differently, moving differently, grooming differently, that pattern is worth a conversation with a vet. Not in a panic, just with attention. Aging changes the behavior too. An older cat may find the jump onto the bed harder than it used to be. They may choose the floor near you instead of the surface with you. That's not distance, that's adaptation. The preference is still there, the capability has shifted. And sometimes, honestly, the bond itself has been strained. Not dramatically, just gradually, through accumulated moments of unpredictability. Too many interruptions of their sleep. Too many times being moved when they didn't want to be moved. Too many interactions that felt on your terms rather than theirs. Cats don't make a decision to withdraw. They just quietly stop choosing something that has started to feel uncertain. The behavior stopping is always information. The question is what kind. Pay attention to what else changed. Pay attention to how they are in the rest of their life. And if the shift is sudden and unexplained, don't wait long before looking more closely. Your cat doesn't choose your bed by accident. That decision, made in the quiet dark, in the most vulnerable hours, pressed against your specific body in a specific spot,
runs through warmth and safety and scent and territory and something that functions in every real sense like trust. It is a conclusion they arrived at, slowly, through observation, through pattern recognition, through the accumulated evidence of how you behave when they're near you. And if one night they choose somewhere else, that's not random either. It means something changed in their experience of the world. Maybe something small, maybe something that deserves your attention, but something. The cats who share our beds are telling us something every night. Most of us just haven't known how to hear it, and now you'll notice every single night.